Boom! Welcome to the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's up to everybody? Welcome to all the new people who are just checking in for the first time. Spook Realm 4Q, you are first in the building. And let me make the screen a little bigger so I can see. Uh, Supreme Divine, what's good? You usually second too, Supreme Divine. PSA. If you ain't a jive turkey, then buy the epic true story. My brother's name is Kenny. The link is in the description below. It's the true origin story of BDP. Please pick up the book. And I'm still working on the audio for those that's gonna ask. Still working on it. Um, and assault that like button, please. Yes, I see that everybody who's watching the live does not hit the like button. Please hit the like button because it helps the algorithm. And finally, big up to the Rewind crew who's going to check this out later on. I love you guys with all my heart. Let's see. Um, Gregory Nettis says Kenny Parker looked like a member of Onyx. Um, This is funny. Yo, Kenny, if you had to sing anyway in American Idol with any female rapper or singer, who will it be? Mariah Carey, Queen Latifah, Lauryn Hill, Mary J. Blige. Well, I'm going with the person that I know the best out of that four, which would be the Queen. Big up to Queen Latifah. Me and her go back to when her first single dropped, Wrath of My Madness. I believe that was 89. So it'd always be the Queen, man. That's my girl. I mean, I'm cool with Lauryn Hill too. Big up Miss Hill. But I know Queen Latifah a little better. I don't know Mary J. Blige at all. Met her once. She was very nice. Um, don't know Mariah Carey at all. Um, Abel Valdez, peace to the Tuesday crew. There's another interesting thing, Gregor Ness, that I saw. He says, Kenny, if EU doing the butt was released in this generation, it would be a hit again. It'd be a smash. Could you imagine TikTok with doing the butt as a hit? They already want to twerk every 5 seconds. Could you imagine a record that big, which was basically our version of twerking, being out now? It would be probably bigger than it was then. Uh-oh. I get some water for this one. Anyway, what's up? How are you today? TJQ Storm, what's good? Rosmel, what's good? Um, Spook World 4Q says, well, based on the recent worldwide panic, none of us were raptured today. None of us that we know of. And the clock is still ticking. We have till the end of the 24th, right? So that remains to be seen what happens. Uh let's see. Explicit, what's up? Um Rod Justice, hip hop, what's up? Um John Walker, what's up? G Doyle, half of the Doyle brothers are in the building. Terrence Hill, what's up? Um got some time before I head out to the job. Let's go, Terrence Hill. I see all the regulars, man. Um Rasul Hassan. Uh What's this? Rasul says, what up, DJ Kenny Parker? On a site on YouTube, YouTube has an AI song called Gavel using your brother's likeness. Word? I did not know that, but you can imagine in the years coming what kind of ridiculous AI images are going to be coming on YouTube and on social media. It's really going to reach a point where you can't believe anything that you see on social media. If it's not in front of your face, it's not real. Maybe it'll take us back to a time where we actually interacted with each other. Maybe AI being so phony and fake might lead us back to human interaction. That would be great. Um, John Walker, what's up? Oh, damn. John Walker says, Kenny, where's the hat? I forgot to dig it out. Oh, man, I'm going to do it on Friday. I have the original BDP hat that KRS-One wore on the cover of the By All Means Necessary album. And he wore it in my philosophy video as well. I still have that hat. I have to dig it out. It's in bad condition. I wonder if things like that could be restored. I'm pretty sure. If I mean, it could be restored as best it can using the original uh, leather. It's made out of leather. Um, JT, what's up? Blessings. Patrick, why? Uh-oh. What up, man? John Walker says Soren Baker talks to Mike G. I need to get one of the Jungle Brothers on here. Big up Soren Baker. He's getting some really good interviews. I saw some of the pieces of the Mike G interview. Big up to the JBs. Y'all know how much I love Native Tongue crew on this channel. Seems like the JBs are going through some inner turmoil, but big up to Africa. Big up to Mike G. Big up to Sammy B. Rest in peace to Baby Bam, Chris Lighty. No, that's wrong. Baby Bam was Africa's Baby Bam. Chris Lighty was, what was his alias? I know he was the fourth Jungle Brother, but I thought Chris Lighty had an alias. It wasn't Baby Bam. I'm bugging because that's Africa Baby Bam. Anyway, big up to the Jungle Brothers and that album, their first album, done by not is it not done by the Forces of Nature? That's the second album. Straight Out the Jungle. Their first album does not get enough credit in the midst of what was going on in 89, 88, 89, and the native tongue in general. That was an incredible album. Big up Soren Baker. Maybe one day he'll have me on his show. MMA Crossfire, what's up? Canada in the house. Um, let's see. MMA says, salute, JT. Did you see Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis press conference today? I didn't see that. I was busy. I had a lot to do today. I didn't really get a chance to look at it. Danielle Ladon Freeman. Yo, KP, you got to listen to the new Kwame album because the production and lyrics are truly fire. And I noticed uh, you still haven't gave us your true opinion on Chris's latest album. I have not listened to any music in the past like couple of weeks, so I got to catch up. And actually working on my own stuff, trying to put all of my beats together. I'm still doing the beat series. As you guys know, I'm dropping beats. I'm just cleaning up stuff, going through discs and things that I have saved and trying to see what's what. So I haven't really been listening to other people's stuff, just trying to clean up my own stuff. And just put it out for you guys to listen to or freestyle to or whatever. Of a lot of music, man. Ilroy says, come down, Kenny Parker. That reminds me of the song Like a Throttle. Dear Marasuti, what's up? Um, let's see. Sydney Rhodes, what's up? Kenneth Smith, what's up? A Steele, what's up? Patrick Sargent, what's up? Jamil Live, what's up? A lot of regulars in the building. Beyond the Matrix, what's good? Tracy, hey DJ KP, hey chat, what's up Tracy? Um, Derek Mallory, salute from Minneapolis, St. Paul. And I forgot who it was in the comment section that I asked who said Minneapolis. It was Janet Jackson. I thought it would be one of Prince's proteges, but it was Janet Jackson. I guess she was shouting out Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who, by the way, I didn't realize how much music they did. They really controlled the 80s. As far as R&B is concerned, I mean, you get caught up on Prince, Michael Jackson, you know, Lionel Richie, but in some ways, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis really controlled the sound of the 80s. Incredible their discography. Um, Patrick Sargent, We Can Do This All Day. Yes, that's from the BDP album. Um, Patrick Wise says Moni Love has a good singing voice too. I've never heard, I might have heard her sing on her album. I'm not sure. Uh, Jamil Love says, "What's up, Kenny? Is somebody personating KRS One with his name linked to a new song, but it's not actually him rapping. It's an impersonator." That is so corny to me. I always wondered why people impersonate other people or like have social media accounts and they are some trying to be like someone else speaking for in like social media, trying to be a celebrity and cause like beefs and dramas using somebody else's name. Like I always thought that was stupid. I don't understand. Um, I don't know. But yeah, I didn't know that, but I'm sure it's out there. Um, DJ Platform 204. Yo, Kenny, do you know Rusty Jux? No, I do not. Jux. He got a new album dropping in a couple of weeks with Skanks, the rap Miter. I'm saying his name wrong, Miter. He's a beast on the mic for real. I've heard of Rusty Jux. He's put out a lot of records over the years. I don't think I've ever met him. It's funny. There's people that along the way I'll see them and I feel like I met them for the first time. And they'll be like, no, we met 25 years ago. We met in this place or that place. And I'll be like, wow, really? Um, Big up to Rusty Jux. Brunswick says, I Get Wrecked. Heather B is a classic. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, let's see. Mike Rocks 25. What up, Bug? What up, DJ KP? Patrick Sargent says, all Glocks down. Big up Heather B. Oh, she called me yesterday. I forgot to call her back. Um, G. Doyle says, the thumbnail Kenny looked like he's still busting that 9mm his brother gave. As a matter of fact, let me big up the photographer of that picture, who happens to be D Nice, DJ D Nice, founding member of Boogie Down Productions, took that picture. I just wanted to switch up. I might use that picture for a little while. Patrick Sargent says hip hop was the rapture. Hip hop was a defining moment. I'm not going to put it in a spiritual sense, but some people might. Um, but this rapture conversation has been really all over my feed today. Um, who knows? We might get cut short in this live when the rapture comes. But some people were saying that it's supposed to be some darkness or a blackout before it happens, or some people are just talking. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but hip hop definitely was a movement that could be considered spiritual to some. Emma Brown, hi Kenny, hi chat. What's up, Emma? Um, This is interesting. Rochester said Jimmy Kimmel is back tonight. Yes, in most markets. I saw some smaller markets. It opens up a real interesting thing because there's one guy who was in control of like 26 ABC markets. They're smaller markets, but he's in control. One person is in control of 26 markets, and he decided that he will not put Jimmy Kimmel back on those markets. Um, so Jimmy Kimmel will be on most markets, but not those markets. Uh, I think, in my opinion, for not being political, but for the sake of the Constitution, I think this is a good thing that he's back on. I wonder what the negotiations were like behind the scenes. That would have been interesting to know all the conversation that went back and forth. But it's the same like radio when you have like a clear channel or Emmett's Broadcasting owning like 60 stations. I think Emmett's Broadcasting owns 60 stations in different markets. And you piss off the wrong person and your record won't get played in 60 markets, meaning you're finished. Uh, and that's one of the reasons that hip hop changed. Radio really was a major factor in the change of hip hop in the late 90s. And a lot of it has to do with Hot 97, New York, slash Emmett's Broadcasting. And it's a whole story behind that, in my opinion. But it's just, I say that to say how one person or one group of people could control so many markets. And whether they like you or don't like you will decide if you get played. Some way, if they like you, or if they have something invested in you, your song could get played in 60 markets nonstop just because they say so. And that could be the difference between having a hit record and getting dropped from your label, could be the whim of somebody. This game is so nasty, man. Um, Walter Parsons, salute. Uh, Blizzard Man, I don't recognize this name. Are you new to the channel? Keep good music alive. Yeah, man. Chef Daddy, what's good? Um, Patrick Sargent says Gavel is dope. I ain't gonna lie, I haven't heard this record. Uh, Joey Joe says those AI songs will ruin music if we don't be careful. It'll ruin every part of entertainment. That's what the writers and actors strike was about. They were striking because AI will be allowed to use your image. Once you're an actor and you do a movie once, the movie studios wanted to own your image and likeness. And what they will do is just continue to use you in movies without you actually being in the movie. There's going to be a time when action stars, big movie stars, and action stars are not even going to be real people. We're going to cheer for an Indiana Jones type guy or like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's not going to be real. Same with podcasters and influencers and newscasting people. They're going to be fake, and they're going to have millions of people following a fake AI generated person. You know how dangerous that is? And then music, AI can use an algorithm to make music that they think will sound good to humans, and it probably will sound good. It'll be all in key. It'll be the right choruses and the right sounds and the right melodies that the AI will decide will be most successful and will probably like it. But it's gonna be bad overall, in my opinion. Um, that's just a rant of mine. Blizzard Man says, we got 78 in the building. Put some pressure on that like button. Yes, we got 78 people in the building. We should have 78 likes. Unless you know what, unless you don't like what you're hearing, and then you don't have to hit the like button. Uh, it's a great question, Explicit. We've talked about this in the past. You're going to get me on one of my rants. Question, Kenny, do you believe the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is legit? And are you happy with who's in as far as hip hop? Well, is it legit? I believe the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is considered the highest honor an artist can get, I believe it's legit. I just believe, just like everything else, there's politics involved. And they keep changing the rules and moving the goalpost. The criteria, as I understand it, is supposed to be 25 years after your initial release, you are eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And it's supposed to be excellence or creativity in your field of music. So jazz is different from rock, different from reggae, different from hip hop, but all of these genres, it's what you did in your field of music. They're recognizing the best in each field. But now they move the goalposts around. Some people don't get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for 40 and 50 years. I don't understand. What did they do different in the past 10 years? Some people haven't even put out music. Some people aren't even alive, but they aren't eligible. They haven't been voted in for the past 10, 15 years, and all of a sudden they get voted in. What did they do different in the past 10 or 15 years? Nothing. If they were good enough to be in now, they should have been good enough to be in 10 years ago. Um, it's just weird who they have uh, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame criteria. And then, are you happy with who's in as far as hip hop? I think most of the artists that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are deservedly so. I have questions on a couple of them, and based on who they put in, so I'm looking at my thing is if you put this person in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, if you understand hip hop, that means this person and this person who have had equal careers or even surpassed them or even had more impact in their genre should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well. Um, Writing your own lyrics obviously is not a criteria to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You could be have ghostwriters in rap, and that's one of the criteria. That's a major thing in hip hop, which is not in the other genres. Which is supposed to be, like I always say, it's an unwritten rule that wasn't followed from the beginning, but it's supposed to be a major criteria that you wrote the majority of your raps. But there are groups or if there are people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that did not write a lyric and are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as rappers. I question that. Um, some people might have had, to me, not enough product out, in my opinion. Like, what is the criteria? How many albums did you need to make in order to meet the criteria? It's just so vague. But for the most part, I'm happy with some of the people that's in. I feel like there are some groups that should be in. And based on some other groups getting in, I believe these groups should be in. But who am I? I'm not on the committee, but I would love to see who's on the committee and what they choose to pick. That's just part of my rant, but I'm going to stop there. Um, let's see. Patrick White says, KP, not trying to book battle, but Ghostface has a book out too, Rise of a Killer, My Life in Wu-Tang, for you Ghostface and Wu fans. No, we like to get all information pertaining to hip hop for like-minded people on this channel. Of course, everyone who gets the Ghostface book should have already read the Kenny Parker book, but that's another story. Uh, David Alston switches the type subjects as Kenny. The Lakers Summer League has a female coach, the beautiful Lindsey Harding. Yes, shout out to Lindsey Harding, who was Rookie of the Year in the WNBA at one point. Um, I believe she played at Duke. Very good player. Short career, though. What are your thoughts on a female coach in the NBA? I think if a female coach can do the job, if the best candidate available is a female, then I think she should get the nod. I thought Becky Hammond was the closest to getting a NBA job as there was, but now looking back on it, I think a lot of it was people calling her in for interviews just for the press release or just to make it seem like they were being open-minded, but really, um, I don't think she really had a legitimate shot looking back on it. And I think she realized that, and that's why she went and took the money and became a very successful coach in the WNBA. Uh, once she realized that, you know what, I'm not getting this job. But like I said, big up to Lindsey Harding. She's coming up the ranks. Maybe one day a woman will get in, but I don't know. Uh, the boys' club might not like that, but if a woman could lead your team to the championship, let her in, man. Um, oh. Rod Justice says, I'm a certified generative AI practitioner, and I disapprove of deep fakes and all this crazy artwork. Artists are going to be, if you could just talk anything to AI, AI can just make an image that's flawless. What's the use of an artist? Is this going to become real art? Human art might become inferior to AI created art in some ways. It's going to be crazy. Um, or human beings are going to make AI art and then say they did it. We're about to go down a real slippery slope, y'all. Be grateful for the art that has already come out that you know is real. Cherish it because we're headed in a real crazy um time, and it's right around the corner, in my opinion. Blizzard Man says Baby Chris was Chris Lighty. Yeah, Baby Chris, not Baby Ben, Baby Chris. I should know that, much as I hung out with Chris Lighty. Um, let's see. DJ Platform says, "Hey Kenny, so much hip hop albums are going to be dropping soon before the end of the year. Mobb Deep, De La, Big L, Nas premiere, Big Sugar premiere, NYG's in premiere, Rusty Jugs, Folsom. Excited for any? I'm excited if any of it is dope. Of course, you guys know De La Soul is one of my favorite groups of all time, so I'm very excited for that. And I'm very interested to finally hear what Nas and Premier has been cooking. Premier has been working with a lot of groups though. Um, I would have loved, it's easy for me to say, but I would have loved for him to just block out everyone else and just him and Nas just go in there for like a year or something and just work. I would have loved to see how that turned out. I think there's a Rock Marciano and Premier, like his Premier is doing a lot of work, as he should. But I would have loved to see them just buckle down and just the two of them. Uh, Jamil Lott says, if you and your brother wasn't emceeing or DJing, what would y'all be doing as a profession? I think you'd have to read the book to really get an understanding of where our lives were headed before hip hop. I think that's a book question. Uh, Yo, Kenny, big up. What are your thoughts on Maximum Strength? I grew up with The Rock, who is a dope MC, but not a fan of his production. Matthew Pena. I don't know. I mean, the Maximum Strength that I know was the album that was coming out after I Got Next. So whatever Maximum Strength, whenever it came out, that's the not the Maximum Strength that was supposed to come out. The Maximum Strength KRS-One album was supposed to drop in 1998, 99 ish, after I got next. And it so the maximum and songs from that album have sprinkled out in different places. But I don't know about the maximum strength. I think I've listened to it. I'd have to listen to it again, the one that came out, but that wasn't the one. Um, I have a song on Sneak Attack called Ghetto Lifestyles. That was supposed to be on Maximum Strength in 99. It didn't come out till like 2001 or 2. And the version that I did had Tragedy Gaddafi on it. KRS-One with Tragedy Gaddafi rapping. By the time it came out on Sneak Attack, I think they took Tragedy off. Big up to Trag. Um, but yeah, so the maximum strength that you're talking about is a different maximum strength than the one that I heard. Um, I didn't know this. Baby Chris, Juju of the Beatnuts, and Brother Jay were all early members of the Jungle Brothers. I did not know that. If that is true, I did not know that. Uh, let's see. Reggie Johnson, what's up? Mm. This has always been funny, Matthew Pina. Is it Pina or Pina? Sorry. Matt, representing the Rewind crew. Big up, but you're on here live though. Peace, Kenny. What did KRS say that why did KRS say that a girl was a material object or love's gonna get you? One of my favorite BDP songs. Yeah, we've laughed about that um after the fact, because he's like, he talked about material items and he's like your car. He said, I think he said your clothes, whatever, jewelry, women. But people talk like that in general. When you hear them say, you got a lot of money, they've got cars and jewelry and women. Women are always considered part of the luxuries of having money. The women are not material objects. Women are human beings. But in that world, actually, in the world of drug dealers, I'm not a drug dealer. Never sold drugs in my life. But being around that environment, growing up in the hood and listening to people talk, some guys really do look at women as and material objects, certain women. Like when you get money, things that you can buy. And unfortunately, some women are in that category. Now, Chris said that, I don't know if he was, I don't know, I didn't write the song, so I'm not going to speak on what he meant, but we have laughed about that over the years. Like, why did you say that? Know that that was a topic of conversation. But to me, I hear people say that all the time. You know, the fast life, cars, drugs, women. I hear that all the time. Um, uh-oh, Miss Hunley, what's up? Hey, DJ Kenny, MC Light or Little Kim in a verses? We had a huge heated debate last week about Tribe versus Wu-Tang, which was great. Um, I think Little Kim definitely has more records that people know than MC Light. And it's also, you could bring out like who sampled you, who you worked with on a song, who you produced. Because Kim could bring, I mean, Kim did a lot of songs with Big. Kim could bring out different features that she was on. She was featured on a lot of big records like Mary J. And she could bring out, Ladies Night. She could bring out those people who rapped on her song. You know, I think Little Kim would win a versus off the top of my head. Um, MPE London says Jimmy Jam and Jimmy Jam and Teddy Riley destroyed that era, in my opinion. The '80s, I don't know. I don't think they did. No, that's your opinion. I don't think they destroyed it. I thought they made some great songs. Um, that's just my opinion. I'm falling behind too. Let me see if I can find some comments. I'm gonna move a little bit quicker. Um, yeah, G Dawes says I seen an interview with Big Daddy Kane and he referenced KRS as his brother, and KRS even helped him move one time. But that was dope. Yeah, KRS. This is before Big Daddy Kane came out. KRS and Kane established a relationship before Raw came out. And even with their relationship, Kane still wrote Shantae's rhymes against KRS in Have a Nice Day. Kane wrote the record Have a Nice Day. Kane was really the writer for most of the Juice Crew. Not most, a few of the artists on the Juice Crew. But he wrote the BDP disc for Shantae, being friends with Chris, and told Chris it was coming. Um, Very interesting. Triggs 9802, what's up? Uh, let's see. David also said, Kenny, why do a lot of coaches get fired instead of the players? Sometimes it be the players' fault. Absolutely, it be the players' fault a lot of times. But what happens is when a team underperforms or considered underperforms for whatever reason, there needs to be a change. Something has to happen to make the paying public feel like they have a reason to come back next year, like the organization is trying to make it better. You can't fire the organization, they own the team. You can trade players, but a lot of players are either hard to move or you can't move them at the moment. The big star player is usually locked into a huge money contract, so it's not easy to move them. The quickest thing you can do is fire the coach. That is the first thing you can do to show change. Um, and coaching is a tough position because you get the praise, but you also get the blame. Like you said, you could draw up a play, last second play, you draw up a great play. The team, it can execute it, and a shooter shoots and misses, and you get bumped out the playoffs, and you can lose your job. And it's not your fault. The coaches can't go out there and actually execute the plays. They can't make a player show up in the clutch. They can't make you get up for a big game. All they can do is try and motivate. But sometimes, like they say, a coach loses the locker room, meaning it reaches a point where people just tune him out. And once the coach gets tuned out, that's another reason why they gotta go. But you're right, that's the tough part of coaching. Um, Emma Brown, you sound really like Terminator. You said the actual humans on the planet are heading for the ultimate existential crisis in about 2 years. Well, the way AI is growing, you might be, I mean, let's hope not. Let's hope not. Platino DC. I don't recognize that name. Are you new to the channel? What's up? KP, were you a member of Zulu? No, I've never been a member of the Zulu Nation. I've done enough Zulu Nation shows with KRS. I should be an honorary member, but no, I'm not. Uh, Explicit says Heather B. If those didn't see it, go watch the Kenny Parker interview on Sway in the Morning. Yeah, we about 3 years ago when I was promoting my book, uh, I went on Sway in the Morning and did a really good interview. Shout out to Sway. That interview was cool because that's like, you know, I was really comfortable with the people there. Shout out to Sway, shout out to Heather B, shout out to Tracy G. And we had a really good interview. For those that didn't get a chance to see it, it's on his channel and it's on this channel. I put up the footage on this channel as well. Check it out. Uh, Daryl Thomas says, I didn't know Derek was into photography way back then. This is not way back then. This is about, I took that picture about 12 years ago, something like that. Yeah, Derek is into a lot of photography. If you go on his channel, he has pictures of all kind of people, even right now, who he's taking pictures of. But yeah, he's been taking pictures for a long time. Um, let's see. Um, Emmett Brown says, if we think creating what is akin to a whole new species isn't going to create within us an emotional crisis, we are fooling ourselves. Yeah, well, we kind of are creating a whole new species. And the scary part is they might get access to technologies and knowledge that's experimental or that the general public doesn't even have access to. Imagine experimental medicines, techniques, and science that an AI can get access to. Forget about it. Um, let's see. I'll move down a little bit. MK Ultra says raptured with KP the Tuesday night crew. See y'all on the flip side. Hey, yeah, man. I mean, only certain some people supposed to leave and some people supposed to stay. It's supposed to be like the blip in Avengers and Avengers Infinity War, right? It's like some people are going and some people stay. I'm not sure how it goes. But we're about to find out. We still got a day and a half, right? Bill Shapiro says Kimmel is protected by the elites. Well, these same elites didn't protect him from getting suspended. I think it's two elites versus elites. This is crazy. It's a hot mess. This is what I really think happened, right, Justice. Negotiations were that people are canceling Disney Plus, so we have to put him back on. Yeah, there's like backlash came from one side. There's like, two sides in America now. Backlash came from one side, which caused his suspension. Then when he got suspended, the backlash from that other side forced him back. It's like a pendulum swinging back and forth. Not good. Um, I saw this Markeith Bankroll. I just saw this a little while ago. Sylvia Rhone stepping down as Epic Records CEO, closing out decades-long legacy in the music industry. I've never met Sylvia Rhone. She is a legendary record executive. Y'all know I'm not a big fan of record executives, but I know who she is, and she has helped sign many legendary artists, especially in Black music. Um, y'all know I have mixed emotions about these people, but big up to her on a long career. Uh, let's see. John Dixon, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. I really appreciate it. Says MC Light could give Kim a run. She could bring out Escape, Missy, Yo Yo, Brandy, and Queen Latifah. It would be close. That is dope. Um, but Little Kim could bring out Queen Latifah. Little Kim could bring out Total and Aaliyah's and Big and Mob Deep and Puffy, and it would just go on and on and on. Um, I just think Little Kim has so many guest appearances. Mary J. Blige, and remember the record she did with Ronald Isley? That remix with Ronald Isley and Angela Winbush? She could bring them out. Oh, it's just a lot. Kim has a lot of features. MC Light has a few, but I think Kim has. You know what MC Light could bring out? They sampled her on All I Want to Do Is Zoom, 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 in a Boom, Boom. Just shake your rump. Moving star shake, was it? Body starts shaking and moving all around, something like that. They sampled her. As a story I heard, I don't know if this is true, but as I heard is that they sampled MC Light, Rex and Effects, Teddy Riley, sampled MC Light without her permission on a rump shaker. And so they had to, in order to make that right, Teddy Riley had to produce a song for MC Light, which turned out to be Roughneck, one of her biggest songs. So the fact that they sampled her on this double, and Rum Shaker was a double platinum single, I believe, huge record. But because they sampled her on that, they had to throw her a hit, which ended up being ended up being Roughneck, which worked out for MC Light. She could bring out Teddy Riley, that would be dope. Um, but Little Kim just got a lot of people she's done songs with, and a lot of hits on her own. I think it would be tough, but that's what these good debates are for. Verse Pro says music is already ruined. In some ways, I agree with that. Yeah. B-Boy Jones says, Kenny, can you tell us what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is missing as far as hip hop? I can give you a couple of names right off the bat. The God Rakim, Eric B. and Rakim was nominated, but they didn't make the cut. Now, if you look at contributions to your genre of music, there are not many people alive, dead or alive, that have made a bigger contribution to the art of rapping as the God. He should be in hip hop a first ballot Hall of Famer. And since he should be that in hip hop, he should be that in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They thought enough of him to nominate him, but they didn't put him in. I don't understand what that's all about. That's just a name off the top. I can name others. Of course, I'm biased too because I believe KRS should have at least a nomination. And some people, they wait until you pass away, then they give you a posthumous nod, which I think is whack. Wu-Tang Clan definitely has the credentials. Because then sometimes you got to ask, are you looking at just what the group did, or are you looking at each individual members? Like, are we looking at just Wu-Tang Clan albums? Or are we looking at Wu-Tang Clan albums plus the solo projects? Because then you have people who's nominated and who's made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, like Michael Jackson for the Jackson 5 and as a soloist, or like Phil Collins, think he's in for Genesis and as a soloist, something like that. So that means they can separate your group from your individual. It's just weird. I think Wu-Tang Clan should definitely be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think De La Soul has an argument. Um, I don't know if Nas is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet. Um, I don't understand that. That's just, off the top of my head. Um, John Walker says, we are living in Twilight Zone episodes. Absolutely. Twilight Zone, Black Mirror, anything you could think of. DJ KP, what was the first record you ever bought with your own money? mentioned that before on this channel. And if you guys have read the book, you know I didn't have any money for most of my youth. Um, the first record I bought with my own money is the Fat Boys, the album with "Can You Feel It? I Am the Human Being" by Hawks. That record was banging to me. I believe that was '85. That is the first record that I bought with my own money. I bought the cassette. Um, I'm trying not to do the Benny Doyle scroll down just yet. I'm gonna get to that, but um, just looking to see. Wow, Philly She, this is a tough comment right here. Premier has lost his fastball. I hate to say it, but his production in the last 8 years, there's not a lot that reached that feeling he hit you with in the '90s and 2000s. Wow. I mean, well, like I said, we respect all opinions on this channel, just about. Uh, DJ Premier is an icon and should probably be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for his contributions to hip hop as a producer. If they put producers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, his contribution to hip hop should have him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Um, but the '90s, 2000s was just a different time. And he's one of the people who helped shape the sound. Like I said, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis helped create the sound of the '80s. DJ Premier helped create the sound, the hip hop sound of the '90s. Um, and if you're not feeling him now, I mean, that's your opinion. Some people agree, some people disagree. Um, some people might say this beats that he's done recently, if you take those beats and put them in 1994, people will be screaming for them. I don't know. Um, but I'm interested to see what him and Nas do. Like I said, that's a pairing that I'm very interested to see. Dartmouth says 20 songs. Who wins versus Tribe? Oh, we went into this crazy on Friday night. The end of the Friday Live. Big up to the Rewind crew. We really got deep on that. It was a good conversation. Um, that's interesting though. Markeith Baker says Karis One Gavel is fire. I gotta listen to this. Uh, Spook Realm says, do you know Dwayne The Rock Ramos, who produced a couple of records for KRS? We used to battle back in the '80s and Sharp Out Skills. No, I do not know him at all. Uh, Gregory Netter says Tupac is the most famous MCs of the 1990s. Do you mean now or during the 1990s? During the 1990s, I would say Snoop Dogg, who was one of the most recognizable and famous artists in the world. Are you talking about, I'm talking about not just hip hop fans, but casual music fans, casual people, people that don't even listen to rap, like your mama and your aunt and your uncle. If you show them pictures of people in the '90s, who would they recognize? I don't know if people would recognize Pac, but I think Snoop was even more famous than him. And Puff Daddy reached a point too where that year when Biggie passed and that No Way Out album came out, Puffy was as big a rapper as you can get. Um, now by today's standards, Tupac has now become, like Elvis. So by today's standards, I would say he's the most famous. I mean, kids are still. I see young kids wearing Tupac T-shirts. Kids that's not even weren't even born in the past 25 years rocking Tupac shirts, which I think is dope. Um, But I don't know if he was the most famous at the time. That's just my opinion. Um, Crusher Blackwell says, Kenny, do you have a backstory on the making of Heal? No. I was not in the studio for any of those recordings. I um I was at the video, of course, and I did a record on the album with Heather, which is our first recording that came out actually. Um, but I was not, excuse me, I was not there for mostly hardly any of the songs. Uh, Jack Swagger says, well, if you objectify women, then they count. No disrespect. We're talking about women as objects. Uh, Patrick Wise says, Brooklyn Geek, before I read the book, I would have bet everything I owned that KP and KRS parents, or at least one parent, was an educator. I would be butt naked right now if I made that bet. Yes, you would have. Um, I'm going to do the Benny Doyle scroll down, even though I don't want to because there's a lot of comments, but I have fallen quite far behind. So I'm just going to jump to right here. I don't know where here is, but I'm going to jump to right here. Crusher Blackwell says, bring MC Light on your show. Yeah, MC Light was, I actually spoke to MC Light's people and she had agreed to come on the show last year, but scheduling didn't allow it. There's quite a few people who wanted to come on, but scheduling didn't allow it. Talking to MC Light would be great. I haven't seen Light in a long time. Crusher Blackwell says the great Kenny Parker, KRS-One, D Nice, the original BDP are missing from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And here's the question: if KRS made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I don't know if he would accept the award too. So that's another conversation. CMC's Techniques in Class. Thank you once again, as usual, each week for your contribution to the channel. It's much appreciated. Salute DJ KP. Yesterday marked Redman's What the Album 33rd year anniversary, which is my all-time favorite MC, one of mine. He's in my top 5. And the album plus De La's Balloon Mind State, classic album, which turned 30 yesterday. Wow. You're talking about 2 of my favorite albums of all time, 2 albums that I listen to religiously. Um, Balloon Mind State. I listen to I Am I Be probably 500 times. At least, probably more. Big up to Reggie Noble. I haven't seen Redman, my brother Redman, in a good minute. When's the last time I've seen Redman face to face? Probably in the late 90s. I haven't seen Redman in over 25 years, I think. I'm trying to think. Like face to face. I haven't seen Reggie in a long, long time. I've been to like Rock the Bells and stuff when he performed, but I still didn't get a chance to kick it with him. That's my guy though. Um, Thank you once again, CMC, for your contribution as usual. Just thinking about Redman, I haven't seen him in a long ass time. Um, let's see. Floshi One says KRS does deserve it. I mean, if you look at his contributions to hip hop, his genre. Now, I don't know if they're separating Boogie Down Productions as a group and KRS-One solo artist. But if you look at just Boogie Down Productions' 5 albums, there's an argument. If you look at KRS-One's solo career, there's an argument. Together, I believe it to me, if you combine them, it should be a no-brainer to me. But also KRS is not commercial, so it has, a lot of the voters, they don't even know. A lot of the people who vote on these things don't even know the history of certain genres. So they see names they recognize and they just jump on the name. It's just weird. It's just weird. Why can't we have a hip hop hall of fame though? I mean, I'm sure if they had one united hip hop for hall of fame, like we got together, because there's different awards and there's like 3 or 4 museums who all are vying for credibility. We'd have to all get together and decide this is the one. And like I said, if you ever been around the founding fathers or the old school cats, they are not organized in any way, shape, or form. It's so disappointing to see the arguments that happen when all these people are together. Maybe it's a little different now, but in years past, when I've been fortunate enough to be in these rooms, because KRS tried to organize a few of these events, they are not organized enough for us to have a hip hop hall of fame. Not at all. It would be great though. Ed Represent said, first album I bought was Edutainment. Wow, that's dope. That's dope. Um, oh shoot, Jason Wall says Huey Lewis used to live a few blocks from my mom when we were young, and they were young. Oh, that's crazy. He had a huge career. He had a lot of big hits in the 80s. Bebo Jones says Primo still got it. See this? One argument for and against. That's why I said there's no such thing as dope and whack. It's all subjective. Um, I saw this Markeith Bankroll, RIP Diane Martell, 63, popular music video director, battling breast cancer. Um, if I'm correct, and I'm not sure, but I think Diane Martell, one of her earliest videos, she worked on the BDP Live Hardcore Worldwide. I know it was a woman director. I believe it was Diane Martell, if I'm not correct. If I'm not sure, I think it was her who did the Boogie Down Productions Live Hardcore Worldwide. It's one of her earliest videos. Um, wow, Brooklyn Geek. On a side note, Slick Rick's latest album was bad. I love him, but yeah, no, no, no. Once again, I don't believe in good and bad. I believe that it wasn't for you. Marley Marl should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. As a producer, his contributions to hip hop, huge. I don't even think they look at hip. A lot of the rock people don't even think hip hop should be included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's that faction too. There's a faction of people who vote who don't even respect hip hop still to this day. Um, so they wouldn't know the intricacies of hip hop. But like some of the people, there's people in like blues and jazz that most people wouldn't recognize their names at all, that never sold big records, but were amazing musicians who influenced countless people. And they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not for the records that they sold, but for their musicianship and their influence. But the voters respect jazz and even blues more than hip hop. Mark Thompson says Premier's mixes don't sound the same. Maybe because he's not in D&D. I don't know. Um, let's see. Uh, BR Valentine, who's always commenting in the Rewind crew, is live today. I think Premier is fine. I think he spoiled us with his sound, and people think every beat is supposed to be above the cloud. Above the clouds was so banging. Or Mass Appeal. Primo is just as dope as he always was, in my opinion. See, that's the thing. Yeah, sounds change. We get older. Times change. The newness changes. Yo, Above the Clouds was so banging. That's one of them preem beats that doesn't even get mentioned, that gets lost in the shuffle of his greatness. Above the Clouds was banging. And big up to the Rebel INS who killed that, um, along with Guru. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's just opinions. Patrick Watts says LL was still famous in the 90s. Yeah, LL was gigantic in the 90s. MK Ultra says Snoop the most famous rapper of all time. You know, there's an argument for that. I would argue worldwide, Snoop Dogg could be the most famous rapper of all time. I will argue that, Ultra. Your grandmother knows who Snoop Dogg is. Absolutely. I will take an argument from that. As a matter of fact, MK Ultra, thank you for your contribution to the channel. Thank you, appreciate it. Says Biz should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Um, he had two big albums. Don't know if he's. I love Biz. That's my guy. And here's his plaque right here that he gave to me. Um, but I don't know if he would be a tough one. There are other people that I think before Biz should get in, but he's great. I think there might be other people that would have to get in before him, in my opinion. Um, but you know, Emma Brown says Snoop is probably still top three rappers with global fame. Yeah, I think he's right up there. Now, Puff, also with his court cases and all of that, right now, Puff is probably the most recognizable rapper in the world. I think Snoop is still right there with Puff. And of course, guys like Pac and Big on, like, the legendary status, people would recognize them as well. Kanye West is Eminem. These guys are hugely popular as well. Huge. Eminem is hugely popular. Kanye, for different reasons, most people in the world, not people, but a lot of people in the world would recognize Kanye West too, I think. Kennard Robbins says, KP, heard that Juvenile has a new album coming out soon, solely produced by Manny Fresh. That could be a big thing for the South. That could be. That's interesting. I'm curious to see how that would sound. Ajax says Flavor Flav has always been instantly recognizable. Yeah, I think he was bigger than Chuck in PE at a time. I wouldn't put him on a Snoop Dogg and Puffy category, but he was huge. Um, you put the clock on him, a lot of people know who he was. But even in the 80s, even in the heights of PE, I think LL and Run DMC were more recognizable than him. LL was huge, man. Don't sleep. Um, let's see. Patrick Wise says Flavor Flav is not even a rapper, and he's probably more recognizable and famous as any top rapper. Well, he has a couple of rap. He is a rapper. He has 911 as a joke. He had his own solo rap songs on a couple of the albums. I would consider him a rapper, not really a prolific rapper, but he has rapped whole songs by himself that you would know the words to. Um, Gregory Netta says Tupac did the movies. Also, he was everywhere. Yeah, but none of his movies. Speaking of that, put Will Smith up there too. Will Smith might be the most recognizable rapper of all time, and it's because of the movies. Not to mention movies. Tupac did movies, but none of them were blockbusters. Will Smith as an actor. Actually, matter of fact, let me scratch that because most people who know Will Smith probably don't even know he's a rapper. Or they might say, oh, he did Getting Jiggy with It. He probably got like one song. Most people right now, if you ask anybody 30 and under, do you know who the Fresh Prince is? They might be like the guy from TV, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I might retract my Will Smith statement. I think he is probably the most famous rapper, but not because he's a rapper. Let's Get Bread. I love that name. I don't recognize it. Are you new to the channel? Says, did you and D Nice collab on any beats? No, no. But D Nice was producing before my time. I got down with BDP officially the beginning of the Edutainment album. D Nice produced on that. I was in the studio when he did he did one, I think one song on that album. I was in the studio for that, but we didn't collab. By the time I started producing, it was like officially producing, because I was doing some stuff behind the scenes that I would consider co-production. But by the time I was producing, it was like 90, late 91, early 92. D Nice was an NBDP really like that. Um, so no, the answer to your question is no. Um, would have been cool though. Shout out to my brother D Nice. Break it down like this. Philly She says Balloon Mind State came out in 93, so it turned 32, not 30, but that is true. Explicit said, I never thought of that. If KRS-One was accepted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he might not even show up to take the award. Actually, I've had conversations with him about that in the past, and it's 50-50 to me. Um, exactly, Jack Swag. KRS the type to want to get nominated just to turn it down. Or he might come up there and make a speech and say something wild. He'll show up and he'll be like, yeah, I'm going to say this and that. And then once he gets up there, um, he would become a different person and get canceled. The Green Talents won. What up? Haven't seen your name in a while. Says, yo, King KP, your brother KRS said that if he was nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he would deny the honor because he feels hip hop was disrespected for 49 years. I agree with him. Well, he said that about the Grammys. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has recognized hip hop for a while now. I believe Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, who should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I hit the mic. Who should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was inducted, I believe that had to be like 15 years ago. So I don't know if they disrespected hip hop as much as the Grammys have. And the Grammys have had hip hop since '89, but they really pick and choose. It seems like they have the same people win year after year. The Grammys to me is bullshit. I can't even front. There's so much politics behind that. I agree with Chris 100%. I have a little bit more respect for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not like I wouldn't want to win a Grammy. I'd be happy, but I know in the back of my mind there's bullshit involved. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I respect it, but I don't understand the criteria. It keeps changing. Jack Swagger says KRS is one of the most important artists in Black music history, not just hip hop. If you know hip hop and you study it, there's an argument for that. But you'd have to really be, knowledgeable. Let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit. Aaron Henderson says, "I Tote Guns is dope, Kenny. Thank you so much. I did that on the BDP album. If y'all get a chance to check it out, it's called I Tote Guns." Gregory Netter says, Kenny Parker versus Mike Tyson next week. Man, that would be brutal. I don't even know if I would last 10 seconds with Mike Tyson. Um, let's see. Uh, um, let's see. You guys be having like your own personal conversations in here. It's funny. Joey Joe says, I think the issue with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is nobody but them and the record label execs know what the criteria are to be nominated and inducted. Exactly. Because it always comes down to money and favoritism, like anything. And the club you have to be in order to get nominated and make it. It's a whole thing. It's not just on merit. It's not. Same thing with Grammys. Winning a Grammy is not just on merit. There's other things involved, which it shouldn't be. Spook Realm says, facts, KP. I've seen cats on YouTube saying that hip hop actually started in this borough or that borough. I've seen that. And that Cool Herc merely heard it during his traveling. See, yeah, I've heard that there's been a faction that wants to discredit Cool Herc, and that's what I'm saying. Even, you had to pick a day and a time for hip hop to even have a birthday. And they settled on a day. And most of the founding fathers give Herc the credit as the guy who's created hip hop as we know it. But there are other factions, egos. I'm telling you guys, you put the top 10 founding fathers in a room right now and come up with a topic and watch the fireworks. They all don't even get on with each other. And I shouldn't be saying this. I'm not a founding father. I am not qualified to even speak on these guys. I have the utmost respect for them. We wouldn't even be here talking if it wasn't for them. But that's what makes it so disappointing to me, because I watched my brother try to organize these guys for decades and spend thousands of dollars putting together all of these conferences and meetings and getting everybody together so we can finally do something. And I come just to be a fly on the wall, and I sit there and watch them argue over the most petty stuff. You'd be like, yo, this is a disaster. I wish they would get it together one day. Beyond the Matrix says Africa Islam is a legend and doesn't get the credit he deserves. Most of Zulu Nation members don't get the credit. Well, Zulu Nation is all lumped into one thing, so they're not gonna get the credit anymore that they should have gotten. But big up to Africa Islam, always cool with me, cool brother. Bill Shapiro says Group Home found their sound after Primo. Wow, Bill Shapiro. Joey Joe says Premier's mixes don't sound the same because his main engineer, Eddie Sancho, big up Eddie Sancho. I remember I used to see him in D&D all the time. Isn't doing his mixes anymore. I don't know. That could be an argument. Um, yeah, Oreo, this is what I'm talking about. The Spinners only got inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2023, which is so puzzling to me. That is crazy. Yeah, what did the Spinners do in 2023 that was different than 2013 or 2003? What changed in the 20 years from 2003 to 2023 that all of a sudden they became eligible? What changed? Did it come out with some new music? Did, I Get Around all of a sudden sound different? Who knows? It's BS, I tell you. And MMA says Chubby Checker only recently got inducted, I believe. I think I saw that too. And to me, he has one big record. Not saying he doesn't deserve it, but that's an art. He has one huge, maybe one of the most recognizable songs ever. I think one of these magazines rated it the #1 song ever made or something, pop song or something. The twist was gigantic. But is the rest of his career Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy? Not trying to disrespect, but what's the criteria? That's what I don't understand. Because if having the twist puts you in, then other people should be in. Um, let's see. Latrice Washington, yeah, Gene Simmons certainly doesn't respect MCs being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think I've seen him diss. A lot of them guys don't respect rap, but rap was born on disrespect. That was the energy that that was the energy that pushed rap to do hip hop. The energy that pushed hip hop to be formed and create what it created was on the backs of disrespect from society. Gregory Netter says 50 Cent is up there. Yeah, 50 is up there as recognizable. He's very, very recognizable around the world. Yeah, I would put that up there. D Nizzy says Red Alert is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for radio. I think no, he's in the radio rocket. He's in the radio Hall of Fame, which is different. Um, Def Rocker says I think Wu Tang are globally recognized. I think the Wu Tang symbol is globally recognized. I think if you put a picture of 15 people, Wu Tang Clan and some random people, and you told people to pick out the members of Wu Tang Clan, they would have a very hard time. A mass majority of people that's not into hip hop. You just put up a lineup that says pick the members of Wu Tang. People would be like, Now, if you took Snoop or 50 and put him in a lineup with 30 people and say pick Snoop, I think a large percentage of people would pick Snoop instantly. We're approaching the end. It's 9:24, and I'm way behind. Let me scroll all the way down and just disrespect a bunch of comments. Jay Wu says, Yo, Kenny, have you ever been to Yale University? I think we did a show there. Think I did. Um, I'm scrolling down, y'all. I'm near the bottom. Jack Swagger is funny. He says if Chubby Checker is in for the twist, then Joski Love deserved to be in for the Pee Wee Herman. That's a rough comment, but I see where you're going with it. Um, Pee Wee Herman, what the twist was for popular music, though, I would say the Pee Wee Herman is not for rap. A rap anthem dance, because Pee Wee Herman was big, but there were bigger dances like the butt, like Gregory Nettis mentioned the butt. A record like that, that was a big record. Or Humpty Dance. Those might have been the biggest rap dance songs ever. But yeah, if you're looking at it like that, if Chubby Checker is in for the twist. Like not trying to disrespect. I have the utmost respect, but I don't even know what else he sings. And every time I've seen him come out with something, it always was like the Twist 1990 or the Twist 2000. It was like a spinoff of the Twist. Um, is that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And I've always had these rants, and we've talked about this a lot. Ilroy says none of us was around when the Twist dropped. It might have been a life-changing record at the time. It was a huge record. Even to this day, you go to a basketball game and they throw on, "Come on, baby, let's do the twist." And they put it up on the Jumbotron and everybody's doing the twist. Like, you know the song. But is that rock and roll? Is his career rock and roll worthy off of that song? That's like saying Hammer should be in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, but for Don't Can't Touch This. Maybe he should. Um, Greed Talent says the forefathers of hip hop are, in my opinion, Bam, Herc, Flash. That's the Mount Rushmore. Jazzy J, I would have them a little further. Master Dawn, Melly Mel for sure. Curtis Blow, Kaz, Red Alert would be. I would put Red Alert, Jazzy J, and a little bit. That's like those are like Bam's children. I would put them a little bit behind that. But would you agree or not? Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Um, Bam, Herc, and Flash, and Theodore, to me, are the guys. Like, if I had to pick four that really are the forefathers of this, to me. But I would probably get pushback on that. I might get some pushback on that right now. um, oh, Marquise says Warren G is releasing some new Nate Dogg music. That would be dope. I love Nate Dogg's voice. He blazed just about every hook that he sung is probably a hit. His track record for singing on records is huge. Um, let's see. G. Doyle says, look at the time and era Chubby Checker came up in. With all that racism, he definitely deserves to be in there. Um, Racism, that's a different category, because if you add racism to the equation, first of all, on the Billboard charts, there was a chart called the Black Chart. It is now called the R&B chart. It was called the Black Chart. That was a chart for just Black people. So racism was so built into society that a lot of artists who made records, Black artists, they wouldn't even play a record on the radio. A white artist would have to do it over, and they would play that record like it was the original. So for Chubby Checker, but was he a pioneer? Like, so you're saying he's like a Jackie Robinson type? I don't even know if he's like the Jackie Robinson of pop music. Um, you look at Robert Johnson, the great blues guitarist who they say made a deal at the crossroads to get his guitar skills, the great blues singer. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's not even that many recordings of him still around, but he is so influential. Once the music that he did really is the foundation for just about every other genre that's come out. So I could see why Robert Johnson from the 20s is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You have to put him in there for his innovation. But to me, Rakim is like Robert Johnson in hip hop. But I don't know if Chubby Checker is in that same category like that. He had a big hit record. I would say Little Richard is more important than Chubby Checker. But like I said, I wasn't around. This is just me trying to know history. Um, Oreo, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Much appreciated. This is a great show as always, KP. We all appreciate what you do. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you guys checking in. Um, we do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. God willing, we will be here on Friday. Big up to the Rewind crew. Love you guys. Please hit the like button, everybody. Thank you, Oreo. I mean, we just like to talk hip hop, and hopefully we get some guests on soon if I can get these schedules together. One day I should just tell y'all, I don't want to do that to people, but I should just tell y'all the people who said they would come on and didn't come on. That's a whole channel. I mean, that's a whole topic. Um, but yeah, Sharon Shabazz says Hammer had hits before the second album. He had like a 3-album run. Yeah, he did, but at first that album, the one Return to Some Other Out was like platinum, but Can't Touch This was like I use that as a comparison. Yeah, yeah, he was big before that. But I use that as a comparison of like a one big song. Um, see, I don't know what Chubby Checker did before and after that record, The Twist. I'm not familiar with his career like that. I used Hammer as an example, maybe not a good example. Um, but it's just John Walker says chubby equals fats, checker equals domino. Oh, he was trying to be Fats Domino. That's crazy. You put that comparison. Because Fats Domino, Blueberry Hill, I don't know if that came out before Chubby Checker, but those were really gigantic records. I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. So Chubby Checker was trying to be Fats Dom. That's crazy, John Walker. If that's true, let me stop shaking this thing. If that's true, that would be crazy. I don't know if that's true, but that's crazy. Um, let's see. I'm gonna jump off. I'm not gonna go too much into the overtime today, but this is an interesting. This Rock and Roll Hall of Fame conversation is always interesting to me. Joey Joe says Martha Griffith's Slide Robbie should be nominated for creating an electric slide song. If Chubby Checker can get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with one song, that's my argument. I hate, people might look at this as disrespect to Chubby Checker. Rest in peace. I have no disrespect. If his family is watching, please educate me in school, a young fella. I'm probably not even worthy to say Chubby Checker's name out my mouth, but just in trying to analyze, I'm trying to analyze the criteria to make a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And Chubby Checker is a good person um to use as an example of how they move the goalposts. Um, But yeah, in reggae, Marsha Griffith should be in there, I guess, like Chubby Checker. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like disrespecting people, so some people might think I'm disrespected. See, some people see. Here we go. Jack Swagger says, "What about Hollywood? Disco King Mario and Eddie Chiba." See, here we go. Now I named the people who I think are the founding fathers, and then Jack Swagger says, "What about this? This is his founding fathers." And here we go. That's why I say there could never be a real hip hop Hall of Fame, because we can't even get the story right. Latrice came and says, and I don't think the twist was Chubby's song originally. Oh man, that wasn't even his song. Yo, if that's true, that's crazy. G Doyle says, thanks for the knowledge, Kenny. I never knew that. Thank you for listening. Um, that's the purpose of this channel. We share knowledge and conversation. Jack Swagger says, Chubby Checker gonna twist us all the way to the promised land. And rightfully so, man. Big up to him. I'm not disrespecting. I'm gonna leave Chubby Checker alone. Um, Sweet Goldilocks, what's up? Says Kenny, are you pushing 60? Um, Tom, I think man, talk about some young fella. Uh, I am pushing 60, actually. Yes, I am. But when I'm talking about somebody like Chubby Checker, talking about some young fella, I'm talking about somebody like Chubby Checker. I am a young fella to that generation. I wasn't even born when Chubby Checker made it hit the twist. You know, our parents would understand the twist more than I would. But I don't call myself a music historian. I think I am. I try to be a hip hop historian because I love it so much. But in music, you know, I try to accumulate information. And Chubby Checker, the twist, you know, I'm trying to understand. Um, but I'm going to call myself a young fella. Yes, I am. How about that? I think I'm gonna get off on that note. Let me scroll down just a little bit more, and I'm jumping off. We're sort of into OT, but I'm gonna get off. Uh, Bill Shapiro says Little Richard is the founder. See, that's what I'm talking about, and he'll let you know too. Saw him live on New Year's Eve. Rest in peace. Yes, rest in peace to Little Richard. He was complaining how um he didn't get his proper due in his career, and he was always complaining. Sharon Shabazz says, per the internet, Chubby had a #1 song called Pony Time. Go look at that. It was the #1 on Billboard chart. I mean, look at that. So he might have had more than one #1 song. So maybe maybe I'm not, just because I'm not familiar with his career doesn't mean he's not a Hall of Fame worthy. Um, I don't know about Pony Time. Never heard it. Well, Keith says Elvis credited Fats Domino as the king of rock and roll. Imagine that. Beyond the Matrix says Chubby is still alive. I thought he passed. And May says, bring Chubby Checker on and ask him, he's still alive? Um, it'd be great if he saw this. I know he would try to disrespect. He probably thinks I'm disrespecting, but I'm really, really not. I am not qualified to disrespect Chubby Checker. I just would like to know if he's rock and roll worthy. Um, Dartmouth says the rapper Casual took offense when Karis once said Frisco Disco. The disc is like a Nabisco chocolate chip cookie. Don't fuck with me, rookie. No, I did a whole breakdown about that comment on this channel. If you go back I think it was 2 years ago. I did KRS One versus hieroglyphics. I break that down completely. Please check that out. Um, all right, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. Divine Existence. Laugh out loud, KP. You made me do some chubby checker research. Apparently, he had 32 chart hits. He had a number one Billboard dance charted song in 2008 with Knock Down the Walls. Wow. Now, I'm very familiar with 2008 DJing. I don't remember Knock Down the Walls. A number one dance record? 32 records on the chart? Maybe he's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy. You have 32 records on the chart. Even though I'm not going to disrespect. Yeah, maybe he is. Maybe he is. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm downplaying his career. Thank you, Divine Existence. Um, Those to Doom. Yo, Kenny, are you Jamaican, son? No, I am not. Dartmouth says Chubby Checker lives in Valley Forge, PA. Uh-oh, I might have beef. Disregard everything I said about Chubby Checker. Matter of fact, I might edit this all out later on so no one gets to see it. Patrick Wise says, Thulsa Doom, read the book. Yeah, everything's in the book. Uh, Jack Swagger says, Chubby Checker the type to fill out his own Wikipedia. I know Little Richard is for sure. Um, First Pro says, laugh out loud. All this Chubby Checker disrespect is unwarranted. See, yeah, I'm not disrespected. I'm not. I am not. Matter of fact, I am not gonna mention his name anymore. Let's act like we never mentioned his name. Can we do that? I hope everybody's seeing this to the end. Let's act like we never mentioned his name. Jason Wall says, can't believe Kenny's starting beef with Chubby Checker. See, now I'm in trouble. I don't want no smoke. Thulsa Doom, Thulsa Doom says, what is the name of the book? The book is named My Brother's Name is Kenny. It's the true origin story of BDP. The link is in the description below. Beyond the Matrix, I forgot about that. Says his daughter, Misty McCrae Bass, was in the WNBA. Yes, she was. Misty Bass played a few years in the WNBA. I don't want no smoke. And he used to be at the games. He used to be at the games watching her. I think Misty Bass played like a couple of years. All right, let me get off this channel because I got beef with Chubby Checker now, and I don't know how this happened. And now I'm in trouble. Chubby Checker, I love you and I appreciate you. Congratulations for making it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. My name is Kenny Parker. I don't want any problems. That is my PSA and disclaimer. I am not disrespecting. I'm just asking. And people have put in the comment section that your career is bigger than I know, so I'm going to shut up. D. Nissy says, Kenny, you got to shoot the five with Chubby Checker. Yeah, now I got to Patrick Wise says KP gonna get Chubby checked. Yo! Yeah, I'm not trying to get beat up by Chubby Checker, man. That would be terrible. And of course, somebody gonna come out world star. I'm gonna get beat up, man. All right. All right, I'm getting out of here, y'all. Y'all about to get me beat up. See what y'all did, man? This is the Kenny Parker Show. I'll catch you guys on Friday, God willing, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big up to the Rewind crew. Big up to Chubby Checker and his family. Congratulations on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I'm getting out of here before I say something else and get in more trouble. All right, peace, y'all.